I mix what I like. What I like. What I like.
Yeah, I know. I get this all the time. One of the things that I would,
and I'm saying, I'm sorry to interrupt you again, Frank. I'm interrupting you one more time. I'm saying, I wanted to say again, I fully agree with what you're saying. I'm now looking for you literally to help me. This is a very selfish question. Help me figure out how I'm going to carry this response when I hear folks respond to me when I make an attempt to make the point you've just made. So I need you've given me the argument. Now I need you to give me the response that you would give to these folks. And again, I'll just have to.
Okay. One of the things that they are going to say to you, and it's, I mean, when I say this, they're going to say this to you. It doesn't mean the exact words, but it's the framework out of which they try and discipline black people, is by saying that, and Sartre said it, to the Negritude movement and to Fanon, that this whole thing about blackness is really narrow, and it is not allowing you to see the bigger picture. And so then we begin to feel bad because we don't want to be narrow, and we don't want to be people who don't see the bigger picture. I mean, that's what politics is all about, right? Political struggle is developing a theory of resistance that can be generalized. Now, it takes some work, and the work at an intellectual level is hard, but it's probably more difficult at an emotional level. And at the emotional level, it would probably just break down. However, one of the things that I would put back to this person or this group is to say, how is it that the paradigm of post-colonialism or the paradigm of Marxism is more essential than the paradigm of anti-blackness and social death? So in other words, and this is very difficult for an American activist because American activists don't read. They just go out and say, break Starbucks windows or don't break Starbucks windows. That's the extent of their kind of level of intellectual politics. So shifting the weight from me to the other person to actually explain to me their theoretical apparatus, not just explain to me what this action in this moment is going to do, but explain to me your theoretical apparatus. And normally, when it comes down to it, you find that the theoretical apparatus works along about four different vectors. One would be the post-colonial vector. Well, my theoretical apparatus is that colonization has done X, Y, and Z. Or my theoretical apparatus is that capitalism, at the site of the wage relation, it exploits everyone universally. Or ecologically, my theoretical apparatus is that we will have no world if X, Y, and Z happens. Or my theoretical apparatus is that we are all suffering under patriarchy. And then you'd ask them, how did black people become part of the we? So what you've got there is a breakdown in that the dreamscape, the structure of their desire, is formulated on a conception of community which a priori is anti-black. So that they're actually not thinking in terms of the ways in which we suffer. And in fact, their political projects will liberate one terrain and intensify our suffering more by being parasitic on our inability to speak, right? And on the energy, the black energy that we lend to their questions, which crowd out an analysis. There's a good reason why they can't come to this, right? Because they can't stand before you and say that I am in my being unethical. They would say, no. Afro-pessimism, for example, and those those moments that cannot be resolved in Fanon, for example, then suggests that I am as much the antagonist as the cop or the capitalist, that I am unethical in my being, and I refuse to accept that. You, black person, must demonstrate to me that I am unethical in my actions. Well, they wouldn't hold any other paradigm of oppression to that high bar, right? They wouldn't say that the white French people living in Algeria have to be destroyed because they're unethical in their actions. They would say they have to be destroyed because they are present, they are here. They wouldn't say, well, you know, there are some good capitalists and some bad capitalists. They would say the capitalist as a category has to be destroyed. What freaks them out about an analysis of anti-blackness is that applies to the category of the human, which means that they have to be destroyed regardless of their performance or of their morality, that they occupy a place of power that is completely unethical regardless of what they do. And they're not going to do that, because what are they trying to do? They're trying to build a better world. What are we trying to do? We're trying to destroy the world. Two irreconcilable projects.
I mix what I like.